It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the films of October 23rd, 1998. We got 6 movies to look at today, some notable movies as well, so let's just go ahead and jump on into it. We'll start off with the biggest new release of the weekend, and that is Pleasantville.
I'm home. There's a place where the people are friendly.
How about some marshmallow rice squares?
Those are swell. The days are sunny.
High 72, low 72, not a cloud in the sky.
And life is perfect. It's a nice place to visit.
Is that your meatloaf?
It might be. It might be.
But would you really want to live there?
What are you doing?
Nice sport. I love it.
We're in Pleasantville? No! We're like stuck. We're Nerdville.
We're supposed to be in school.
We're supposed to be in color?
Hello, Mary Sue.
Who's that?
I didn't think you'd want to come here until we've been pinned for a little while.
You can pay me anytime you want to. Or maybe I should just pay you.
No.
What goes on in Good Mother's Lane? Sex. What sex?
You don't understand. You're messing with the whole universe. Open your eyes.
Something is happening to our town.
Something changing. Spreading all over the place.
Open your mind.
And discover that once outside of Pleasantville, there's some places where the road keeps going.
Nothing is as simple as black and white.
Look at my face.
It'll go away.
I don't want it to go away.
From the co-creator of Big and Dave.
This behavior must stop at once.
You can't stop something that's inside you.
Pleasantville.
What are we gonna do, Bob? Well, we're safe for now. Thank goodness we're in a bowling alley.
Thank God for the bowling alleys, man. Pleasantville. If you have not seen this movie, this is kind of one of those you have to see this movie type of film. I mean, this is a film that is just... It's a great movie. You basically have Tobey Maguire and Reese Witherspoon as these 1990s teenagers who wind up getting trapped inside of a 1950s TV show set in a small Midwestern town, and their residents there are perfect in every way. And then they introduce their version of how they live their life in the 90s, and it's kind of mixing in together, and it creates a very entertaining and engaging film. It kind of reminds me of... There's so many different similarities you can make to this movie. The Wizard of Oz is a perfect example in terms of the visuals. A little bit of the Truman Show in there. I completely forgot what I was going to say. A little bit of a mix of Stay Tuned, as well as a little bit of a mix of Cool World. Like, a lot of different elements coming together here, and it makes for a really entertaining movie. It's a very thought-provoking film. From a visual perspective, it's amazing to look at. Seeing black and white and color brought together with this technology that they had back then. And I like how once everybody starts turning into color and everybody starts to get more of an emphasis on the overall... Once these two main characters come into play and they try to bring their ideas of their world into this world, things begin to change. Like fire exists in this world now. Sex actually exists in this world. Rain and weather actually exist in this world. And it creates all these different dilemmas. And it creates a very intriguing and very entertaining storyline. You have a lot of great actors in here. Jeff Daniels, Joan Allen, William H. Macy, J.T. Walsh, Don Knotts, Paul Walker, Marley Shelton, Jane Casmera. Just a phenomenal cast in here. A great story and a great direction by Gary Ross, who gave us Big and Dave. This is a fantastic film. I love going back to this movie every couple of years. It's just a film that I just love watching. It's a film that's so visually pleasing to look at. It's a film that's so much fun to watch, so much engaging to watch. It's a film that really was kind of ahead of its time because it was a critical hit when it came out, but it bombed the box office when it came out back then. Only made back $49 million worldwide despite a $60 million budget, but I think people have definitely come around to this movie, as they should have. I like the ideas that they have in here. There's a lot of ideas in here that really stand the test of time, even by today's standards, and it's a great movie, man. I really, really love this movie. It's a film that if you haven't seen it already, you really, really need to see this movie. I mean, it's a terrific film. I can't recommend it enough. If you haven't seen Pleasantville, see it. You are doing yourself a major disservice by not doing so. So that's Pleasantville. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is Kurt Russell in Soldier.
The soldier of the future. Programmed from birth to kill without feeling. For this man, it's too late to be human, but never too late to be a hero. Russell, Soldier. Rated R. Watch Friday, October 23rd.
Yeah, as soon as you see the Paul W.S. Anderson's name on there, Abandon Hope, Ye Who Enter Here. This is a film about a highly skilled and emotionally distant soldier played by Kurt Russell who's left for dead, who befriends a group of refugees and faces his former superiors who are determined to eliminate them. You've seen this story done over and over again, and despite the fact that the visuals in here are nice to look at, and Russell is giving it his all here, and it's written by one of the guys who wrote Blade Runner, it's still not a good movie. It wastes a lot of really good talent on here on a story that we've seen done to death so many times. I mean, there's really nothing there in this movie. It's just a generic action movie. It has times where it does have those brief flashes of promise to it, but it's never enough to really recommend the movie. It's a shame because Russell really has given it his all, and you can tell that there was at least some effort being put in there when it comes to the action scenes, but everything else not so much. It's a big disappointment. Not much more to say about that one, Soldier. So on to the next movie, and that is Bryan Singer's Apt Pupil with Ian McKellen and Brad Renfro.
Do you ever wonder how people do the things they do?
Critics are raving. Apt Pupil is one of the boldest films of the year.
Put this on because I want to see you in it.
Scarily brilliant.
Stop it!
Ian McKellen's Oscar-worthy performance is riveting. We'll play with fire. Hitchcockian. With a climax that will haunt you for days. From the director of The Usual Suspects and the author of Misery and The Shining. Down in the cellar. You're not going to believe this. Apt Pupil, rated R. Opens everywhere Friday.
So this is based off of a story by Stephen King that was written back in 1982, a novella of his. You basically have the story of this high school student played by Brad Renfro who discovers a fugitive Nazi war criminal played by Ian McKellen has been living in his neighborhood under a pseudonym name. Boda has become obsessed with Nazism and the Holocaust, and he persuades Sodder to share his stories, and their relationship stirs malice in each of them. And Singer himself is called Apt Pupil, a study in cruelty with Nazism serving as a vehicle to demonstrate the capacity of evil. And you could probably say the Family Guy, whenever they did that episode where Chris had the relationship with his new neighbor who was also a Nazi, I can't remember his name now. The old man Herbert had to save him at the end of the episode. I think that episode took a lot of inspiration from this. It's an idea that was probably ahead of its time very much. I mean, there's a lot of ideas that you could take today and put it into a movie today, and I think it would be much better appreciated nowadays. But for the take it was trying to do here, but back then, yeah, it was definitely. I wouldn't have been surprised if people were really, really criticizing this idea, bringing this into a mainstream movie like this. But for Bryan Singer, he did a pretty good job with it. It's probably one of his more underrated films he's ever done as a director. He gets a great performance out of Ian McKellen as the neighbor, and you could easily tell that he got him late. This was kind of the inspiration for him to cast him as Magneto in X-Men after this. But phenomenal performance, man. And also you get a great performance from the late Brad Renfro in here. It has a lot of good ideas to it. I do like what they were trying to go for here. It's one of those movies where there's a good idea, but the execution and the way it plays it out, it doesn't go as far as I think it really needed to go. I think they tried to do it a little bit too mainstream. I think they tried a little bit too hard to go for a more common audience instead of actually just going all in on it, like something take it more seriously, like something like The Usual Suspects probably would have gone, But it's fine for what it is, but it definitely could have been a whole lot better. I think it works mostly because of the performances by McKellen and Renfro, and just the ideas that it has to just go as far as it wants to go to try to get its point across. Even though it doesn't do it all the way through, I really wish it did, but I can't say the movie is terrible by any means, far from it. I think it is a very well-made film. I think it is a very solid film overall. I just only wish the ending was I just wish they went a little bit further than they actually went with this. But like I said, for what it is, it does deliver what it promises, and I think it does deliver more than enough to say you should definitely check it out. It's definitely one of Bryan Singer's more underrated movies, and one that definitely deserves to be watched. So definitely check that one out. That's Apt Pupil. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie here, and that is Freeriders. Extreme snow sledding. That's literally what this movie looks like. The plot is that join the best free riders on the planet, like Candice Fauvet, J.P. Leclerc and Suzanne Sawyer as they take you on a ski trip from Mexico to Greece and even to the top of a volcano. That's pretty much all I know about this. This is a documentary. I think it's a documentary, but once again, haven't seen the movie, but doesn't look like it has some nice visuals, like some nice snow visuals, and I don't know, the idea of skiing off a volcano sounds pretty awesome, but again, that's pretty much all I know about this one. So this is another quick one here. So that's Freeriders, sponsored by Nissan. But let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is Trey Parker and Matt Stone once again teaming up in another film from Universal in 1998, and that is Orgazmo.
Orgazmo.
Did someone say my name?
This is actually a film that they shot, I believe, before South Park even became the big hit that it was. I think this was before Basketball. But if you've never heard of this movie, it's a superhero sex comedy in which Trey Parker plays this devout Mormon missionary. You could say this is kind of a precursor to what the Book of Mormon would eventually become, who, to pay him and his fiance's dream wedding at home, he decides to participate in a porn film from an abusive director. And you have Trey Parker, Matt Stone, Dion Baker, some notable names here. Toddy Walters, Ron Jeremy is in here. Some notable porn stars, some notable voice actors. If you've ever seen SpongeBob SquarePants, Joe Kelly, I think, was one of the... No, that's not one. I'm thinking of somebody else. I'm thinking of another Joe. Joe Talley is who I'm thinking of. Sorry about that, but you have some notable names in here. Mostly notable names from porn as well. But like I said, this is a film that came out I think this came out right before South Park blew up and became the success that it's now known for. But it's a film that not a lot of people really remember, honestly. And to be honest with you, I've never seen this movie. I've seen everything from Trey Parker and Matt Stone, but everything except for this one. It's one I've been trying to get to see for a number of years now. I've just never gotten around to checking it out, but I've always wanted to see it, though. It looked like a funny movie. It looked like it fit right into the same type of people who would like South Park and like the works of Trey Parker and Matt Stone. And I feel like that's something that I think people would... that this is right up the alley of those people who would like that. So I really do want to see this movie at some point, and I probably should, considering that I've heard about this movie for almost 20 years now, and I've yet to see this movie. But I do want to see it, though. So, I don't know, maybe if I can find it online at a good price, I'll probably check it out. But I do want to check it out at some point. But so that is Orgazmo. So let's go ahead and move on to the last movie we have here, and that is Roberto Benigni in Life is Beautiful.
And a gift of making life beautiful. Now he'll really need it. To protect his family, he must turn the hard truths into a simple game. Roger Ebert calls Life is Beautiful a great film and predicts it will be nominated for Best Picture of the Year. It's passionate and enormously likable, a masterpiece of tremendous power and beauty. Life is Beautiful, rated PG-13.
So Roberto Benigni plays this Jewish-Italian bookshop owner who employs his imagination to shield his son from the horrors of internment in a Nazi concentration camp. And this is partially inspired by a book called In the End I Beat Hitler, and the stories of Benigni's father, who spent 2 years in the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp during World War II. And I mean, Roberto Benigni, man, talk about a roller coaster career he had. His first big film that most people knew him from here in America was Son of the Pink Panther, which did not end up doing well, but he had that fall, then he had this rise, and he won all these Oscars for this movie, and then it all came crumbling down 3 years later with his Pinocchio film, and then he kind of rose himself back up again with a much better Pinocchio film that came out 17 years later, and good for him, man. He's done a lot over his career, and he's shown his range in this movie. It's not only given a very good comedic performance, but he's also given a very nice dramatic performance. I love the way that the balance between comedy and drama is put in this performance, and he's given it his all in here, and he definitely shows that he deserved to win all those awards that he won for this. Like, I think he won Best Actor, and he also won Best Foreign Language Film. Of course, that was the moment when he infamously jumped on top of everybody in the seats at the Academy Awards. It was a great moment. I mean, like, moments like that, I wish the Academy Awards would eventually bring back again, but I don't know. It's very rarely that happened now, but he deserved it, man. He gives a really solid performance. He does a very good job putting this together. It's a very good film. It's a very solidly entertaining film. It's a really enjoyable film that I highly recommend checking it out. see Roberto Benigni at some of his best work. This really is his best overall film. Definitely check it out. Life is Beautiful. So that wraps up another edition of Time About the Movies. We'll wrap October up next time with John Carpenter's Vampires with James Woods. We also have Living Out Loud and also American History X, as well as Talk of Ages. So 4 movies this time on the next time we meet. So yeah, that'll be for next time. But until then, thank you very much for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, please hit the place on the next page. Check out the previous episode. Also, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this on this channel. So with that said, I am off. I will see you next time, and until then, as always, take care.